Welcome back to Rivo's Hub. We haven't done a YouTube video for 16 months. Tell a lie, we have done a couple after that, but actually on the build of this place since we opened and everyone that was following us on the move over from our old unit. Yeah, it's been 16 months, so there's quite a few changes and updates gone on since we've opened. So we thought it was about time, and plus a few people have asked us what's been happening, especially if they're not local. Weirdly, because we're open, we just assume that everyone that followed us came here anyway. So especially family up north in the Midlands and that, were kind of wondering what was going on. Obviously, they have been down since, some of them. So yeah, we thought it was about time we did an update and just of what's been going on with us here since we've been going. Quite a lot's changed. We probably won't get it all in a video as such, but there's always sort of things constantly changing. Mainly one from where we're stood now is, in the last video, there was a pool table directly here. And we had that, I think we had that up until about the October time last year. And we realised, it wasn't ours, it was kind of rented anyway as such, but we just realised that the change of the way the venue was going, it wasn't suited as such. And this is now actually a dog seating area for people that are, you know, coming in. Well, obviously we get a lot of people coming in with their dogs, so this was perfect really. It's just to the side, they're not walking through the main restaurant as such, so they can still come in. So this sort of area worked out perfect, and even people walking the dogs, they can pop in for a cheeky pint or a coffee as such. So yeah, that's worked out quite well. Over the last 12 months, it's like I said, you try things, they work, and different things keep evolving. Other than that, I think there was a fruit machine there in the last video. That's gone. We've now got a retro games machine, which is, it was quite addictive when we got in. Going through, I don't think what else. Oh, we've got Sky TV now. Again, that's mostly for the sports, the Formula One, all that sort of side of stuff. Not too much has changed through here, I don't think, other than bits. I've still got traffic lights that don't work because we haven't got around to doing that yet. And then I think in here, we was doing the graffiti on the walls with Tom from Watcher Designs, and I don't think any of this was on. And around the windows, which is kind of finished off this room. This room was the only part of the building really it didn't need too much work, because it was fairly newish. And then we put the big TV on the wall there, which I think I said in the old video all that time ago that we was hoping to do that, and we've done that now, which has usually got something like this on our YouTube. And then obviously it works out well for the sports side of stuff. If we've got the football, or again, towards the end of last season, we had the F1 on in here. Gardens haven't done a great deal really. The grass is slowly growing better from a lot of the dead areas. We have got a garage door side, which we've been doing, which were graffiti walls. And then obviously behind the fencing, I think those that remember we was going through planning permission issues and stuff. We was going to turn that back area, the concrete slab that was put in with no planning. We've managed to get planning permission to keep the slab now. So we're just working on the finer things to turn that into a motorbike park. So it'll be like an allocated bike area. It doesn't matter what events we've got out the front then, if it's, you know, it's full of American vehicles or on JDM days, and bikes have always got somewhere allocated to park then, and they can step straight into the gardens then. But we're still it's still a bit of a dumping ground around at the moment, but we're waiting on the brewery to pull their finger out, and we've got to put some acoustic fencing up just to meet the criteria from the planning. So once that's done, we can open that up as we're waiting on the brewery. I don't even know when that'll be. They're not the fastest in doing anything these days, especially when they've got to pay for it. But that was part of saving them 20 grand and getting rid of the concrete slab. You think they'd be quite happy to save the money, but yeah, it's not as easy as that. I think also, while we're outside, there's a couple of changes. Obviously, everyone will remember the red van that used to sit in there, the slammed van. That's not the same van. That one's now Van Cake. The red van went up to a mate Robin in Scotland, and we ended up with doing a deal with him on the Space Invaders van, which everyone will know passing, because it's always sat outside, usually in this space, and that's not my oil. Although some of the hydraulic might be that one, but yeah. And then obviously Van Cake now is sat outside, which was actually built by Andy Saunders and Johnny and a few of the team up at Sandford in 2008. So yeah, that's obviously, those that follow us on YouTube will have seen us pulling that out of the field, and we are doing videos. We've just started doing some more videos now because we're going to get this running. So obviously, anyone that's interested in some of the vehicle stuff we've done before, this is going to be a fun project. But yeah, we've been making a start on that, so there's more videos to come on that. So one of the other main things that changed after we opened was a story we saw on Facebook about a young boy, I think Sean was 13, that had issues and obviously needed a defib, and unfortunately passed away because they couldn't get a defib local enough to help save his life. The family put a post out about people trying to get involved. Laura saw it, and we wanted to help where we could. Obviously we're not local to the area. It was about a mile or so up the road, so they were hoping to, as the motorbike goes past, they were hoping to get one fitted a bit closer to where they are, but obviously they put us in touch with the Swanage defib guys, and about setting up something we could do in Sandford itself, because obviously we're only just down the road and there's none really. Swanage has quite a lot of them thanks to the scheme that the guys do. There's a lot over that area. Obviously we're trying to get more towards Wareham and Sandford, so we put a Just Giving page out, and obviously thanks to our local customers and our supporters and sort of followers from the actual Rivos anyway, the local community sort of were so generous, and we ended up raising about £2,000 in the end, which was great because that meant we could get the defib fitted and the actual trauma kit, because you can get another kit that goes to buy it, which I'll show you now. Ollie was, I forget Ollie's company, I do apologise, but it was a while back now. He came in and fitted it for the charity free of charge, which was amazing of him. So now I'll flip the camera, and usually sits in front on the wall on the side of the building. Just move around the van. Obviously the van's not always there actually, but on the side of our building, as you can see there, the defib sits there, and the trauma kit just next to it. We'll move around this side out of the wind. But yeah, which is amazing really. We can't thank everybody, our customers and locals and the community around us, for helping us do this. I mean, it's great because it's for the community as well. So anyone that's going to need, and hopefully they don't, but at the same time if they do, this is going to be hopefully a great bit of kit to have. But there's nothing down this way. Since getting these in, probably might have been about a year ago now, I think thanks to Sean's family, Si and Alison, that they have got more installed in the local areas now, which is amazing. The defib has been out twice, one to one of our neighbours down the road, and luckily it wasn't actually taken out. We got it out of the call 999, we got the code to get it out of the actual case, but the actual defib sits in the case, wasn't used, luckily. I think sometimes, and we've had it twice now, where 999 is called and they'll say is there a defib near, and you kind of just get it to the person that may need it if it's just there as a precaution. And on the two instances we've had to deploy it, it's been for that reason, just in case. The other one was we had a bike event on, and one of the bikers had a turn, and again he passed out. We managed to get him with a few others into recovery position and such, and they just said, look, can you get one on standby? Luckily it's literally on this side of the building, and we was only on the decking over there, so that sat there. Again, it wasn't used thankfully, but it was there just in case. So it's an absolute vital bit of kit. Again, thanks to fundraising and the Just Giving page we did, we was able to get these, which was great. The trauma kit, I don't know how often they're ever used, maybe for car accidents. Unfortunately I think they're geared up towards knife crime, for sucking chest wounds and stuff, which unfortunately I've done quite a bit of that side of stuff when we was in the military, but yeah, hopefully that doesn't get needed either. But the defib is amazing to have, and we're just really happy we've got it on the side of our building. And one of the problems with this, with the whole story that it came from with Sean, is that the defib was in a building which was actually inside a building that was closed, so obviously out of hours there was no access to it, and unfortunately that just made the story even sadder really. But yeah, the fact this is on the side of our building and they glow kind of green, there's a green glow on them of an evening, so when you're passing you can't miss them really, which is brilliant. So yeah, a little bit later down the line it did go on our socials, but a massive thank you to everybody that helped raise money for these two. Yeah, hopefully it's not needed, but at the same time hopefully it'll save lives, so it's brilliant.
How much it has changed is crazy really, because we don't see it because you live and breathe it all day and every night. You kind of don't realise the little jobs you do. And even like a couple of weeks ago we put out a post on social media saying, you know, we've got so many jobs we can't get around to physically doing, or you know, it might be an electrician job, small jobs,
Laura put a post out, and we had loads of like local businesses and people say, look, we can help you with that. We can come in and do that. And we had a couple of different companies come in. One guy came in and did all the gardens. He was starting up a new landscaping sort of gardening service. He came and did all the gardens for us and cut all the grass. We had another guy come and change another light in the toilet and stuff that we, jobs we weren't getting around to doing really. Another one was a swing sign out the front. That's been an issue since we moved in. We finally got it working, then it kept tripping and blowing things. And then a guy come out and did that, which was brilliant. We finally changed me and Harrison got on a tower and changed all the bulbs in it. So that was all working, and now it's blowing again. So we've gone back to square one. I don't know what's tripping, but the coffee shop was a big thing we was building, I think, in the last one. That did get open. We opened that, closed it just before Christmas because of the time of year it was getting quiet. I think we might look at opening that again soon. And just readjusting how it worked last year, and hopefully that'll pick up again. The big blue bus that was in the last video, I think, or a couple of videos before, that went last year. I never had time or money to get on that project, so that's kind of wasn't worth sitting there taking up 5 parking spaces. We were halfway through building the other garage as a shop, like a merch store, but I think we're going to re-change that idea a little bit more now and kind of take that into the coffee shop and make it sort of 2-in-1 there. Obviously, everyone knows that pubs are struggling at the moment. I think it's 2 pubs a day closing. And I was like, it probably would be good to put that out, because everyone's like, oh, you're doing great. It's busy every time we go past. Yeah, it is, but it's still I think it's one of the hardest industries at the moment. We're not doing as great as it might look. The pub industry is sort of on its knees a little bit, but we're grateful that the car and bike sort of, and that automotive side of what we do does help us survive. But it doesn't stop. You're constantly thinking of events, things you can do, things you can put on. Like I said, if other venues haven't got what we have, then yeah, you can see why they're closing and struggling even worse. If we'd have started Rivo's Hub here, which was the plan, although it was just before COVID, it'd probably be a lot harder, but because we did 3 or 4 years with the unit, we had a following for what we do. Clearly, obviously, very active on social medias, which helps. But if we was to start, if we was to come into this without the car and bike side to us, I don't think we'd be here now. I don't think that would be a thing. I think we probably wouldn't have been able to keep going, even just over a year in, which is why the pubs are struggling. I think so many of them changing hands. But yeah, no, we're grateful for. I mean, the local community is taking it on board. We didn't want them to stereotype the car and bike thing, and most seem to love it. Obviously, we can't please everybody, which is pretty normal. But the police drop in when they can. People usually get a little bit twitchy when the police cars are pulling in, but they are generally just petrol heads, and they like to come in and have a look. It's usually the old Fords. When the Ford days on, they like to come and have a look at the Fords and that. So yeah, the council we keep in touch with quite a lot. They're happy with what we're doing. We always speak to them when we've got any issues. So I think so long as they're kept in a loop, they're kind of happy. But we're always conscious of noise and stuff like that. Although some people seem to think we're not. We are very conscious of the noise that people make and stuff. So we're always on that. And again, the police and the council know that. Clearly, somebody doesn't like what we do because they'll complain about it. But it's usually not from us. It's usually passing cars, passing bikes. But they're nothing to do with us. And the council and the police know that, because I've asked them about it, and they're like, no, if unless it's in your car park, someone's acting like an idiot, then it becomes our problem. And a lot of people come up just to see the vehicles that come in. We always say, you never know what's going to pull in this car park. It can be so random at times, whether it be a supercar or a ratty sort of hot rod. I think we had a Green Goddess at the old place come in. We've had all sorts of stuff. A 1931 Bentley Blowers pull in. And then you'll have like the McLaren Club turn up, and then, which does sometimes slow the traffic down because everybody's rubbernecking. Again, I suppose, is that our fault? I don't know. Technically, it could be any car park with a car in it, couldn't it? But yeah, no doubt that's probably our fault as well. So any traffic in Sandford is usually our fault. And until they built Lidl, now it's all Lidl's fault, which is quite the hand. I'm out in the car parks, usually trying to watch that people aren't leaving like idiots, or just talking and networking with people, and just being, as a landlord, I'm always out there with the car mates. It's what we started it for. I love the cars and bikes, but yeah, when you stood out there sometimes, Motorsport Sunday we did the other week, the American days, I'm stood there thinking, this is why I did it, to have all that there. It doesn't matter about your bills and your overheads sometimes, but it's just, for me, being, when it comes to cars and bikes, I couldn't be in a better place, really. It's perfect. It's a perfect job, isn't it? But Yeah, it is. We love what we do, which takes half that. You know, if you didn't, then we wouldn't be here anyway by now. Not when you're struggling with financial issues and the industry the way it is. What's the point in being here otherwise? But it is because we love it. You just kind of carry on and hope things change in the future, I guess. Well, it's like Laura said the other day. She was like, "Oh, she's posted. We're doing a new event in September. Obviously, we run Dorset Volksfest as well." And she's put on there, obviously, me and a friend Andy are doing this new event. Like we haven't got enough to do as it is. And then stupidly, we take on another festival to start up, which, there's not enough hours in a day for just running the pub and trying to plan events. But yeah, luckily, Dorset Volksfest kind of does its own thing a little bit. Although I do end up getting behind and then I'll spend a week trying to smash out admin all night. Everyone, we don't close till 11:15 on a Friday and Saturday. And if I'm not around, it's usually because I'm on the computer upstairs trying to plan stuff like that because we're awake anyway. And later, but yeah, but again, it's stuff we like doing, and it's thinking of the bigger picture in it because it all ties in. I was talking to somebody months back, and we were saying how when we opened, me and Laura was behind the bar. I think it was a New Year's Eve maybe, and there was two couples opposite the bar chatting away, and I said to Laura, "Look, we've done that. You're clearly two local couples that hadn't seen each other in ages. They might see each other at Asda or the petrol station down the road, but they don't. There's no places as such like a pub would be, just where they catch up. And they were there for hours, and they're actually good friends of ours. And they turned around and said, "No, that was us. It was them. It was Noel's birthday, and it was them that was talking to another couple that we know." And it's nice that we've given them, we've given a community somewhere to sort of go as well again then. And that's what it is. We knew we are automotive based, but we're still a community pub as well. We just wanted to make sure, we wanted to hope that the locals, then the community, embrace what we're about. And we had a few funny comments about our menus and stuff like that. But obviously, again, you can't please everybody. But people like what we do, Well, we think they like what we do. So.